Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA. Ocala.
All right, 9 minutes before 11 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. Have you ever had an idea and you wanted to see that idea become reality? If you drive just a few miles from here to the Kennedy Space Center, you are looking at the culmination of an idea that a group of people had a few decades ago, and it ended up with us as human beings being able to say that we have sent one of our own to the moon. In fact, more than one of our own. A few guys, I don't know the exact number, have gone to the moon. And if you were alive during those days, you know, sometimes those of us who were around are more excited, I think, about the space program than like the younger people, because it's kind of like, well, it's been around their whole life, you know. But for us, I can remember when the Apollo launches would go up, you would just look at the moon. So they're up there. There's somebody up there. Right now, there's somebody up there. On the phone is Jeffrey Kluger. He is a science editor and senior writer for Time magazine for more than 2 decades. He's a best-selling author. A couple of books he's written about the Apollo missions. Apollo 13 is one of his books. This one is Apollo 8, the thrilling story of the first mission to the moon. This is the one where they went to the moon but didn't step foot on the moon. And I've always thought, God, that would be like being so close. Yeah. I'm so close. It's like, we're going to go to the beach. No, we're not. We're just going to drive up to it and then come home again. Jeffrey Kluger, good morning, sir. How are you?
Very good, thank you. Yeah, I like what you're saying. A friend of mine described that one. She said, it's like traveling all that way and then they make you wait in the car. Isn't that
right. Oh, my gosh. Well,
but the fact is, this car was a pretty amazing car. And what happened in that mission, you are right that they didn't close those final 60 miles from lunar orbit down to the surface. But what they did was they left our planet behind. They pulled themselves out of the gravity well of Earth. They descended into the gravity well of another world, orbited that world, became people of that world, and for the time they were there, the human species was forevermore a species of 2 worlds instead of 1.
It is a fascinating story, and you know, all these years later, I've never really known the story. And so you filled in so many gaps for me personally, and I'm guessing all of your readers. You're getting great reviews, by the way, on Amazon. I don't know if you know that or not. But I think...
Oh, thank you.
And I don't know who the age group is, but I'm guessing it spans the spectrum. See, we can see from where are you right now?
I am in New York City.
Okay.
In a windowless room at the moment.
We are not so far away that we can't see the launches. When there's a launch at the Kennedy Space Center on a clear day, we can see the rockets. Still to this day, we can see them.
Yeah.
And so I can remember seeing them go up, and it was so exciting to watch that and to just know what they were about to do. And oh my gosh, I don't know, it's just exciting stuff to me. So did you look up the information? Did you have to interview people? How did you put this together?
Well, there were a lot of different approaches I took. I was able to interview a great many of the surviving folks who were involved in the mission. All 3 astronauts are still, knock wood, healthy, well, lucid, strong, active, and all were incredibly cooperative. Jim Lovell, obviously, since we worked together on Apollo 13 before writing the book together, he knew me and trusted me, and I am privileged to say that I've been friends with him for many years. So they were available. Gene Kranz was available, the flight director we all know from the movie Apollo 13, Jerry Griffin, Jerry Bostick, a lot of the important people. Also, some of my reporting from when I wrote Apollo 13 was still useful to me. and a lot of the archival material that wasn't available when I wrote Apollo 13 is available now. So all of the transcripts of the confidential conversations that took place in the cockpit are available. All of the oral histories from NASA, the 1,000 interviews that have been done with all the principals, all the greats of the space program, are all online now in the Johnson Space Center archives. So there's a great deal of material that made the work a little bit easier.
And the era and the mission itself that you showcased in your book is absolutely incredible, because the year before that, the same kind of rocket blew up and killed the 3 astronauts. The political scene in the United States and across the world just was really contrary to each other. They were in turmoil, yet you've really captured the essence of 3 men and the entire space program and the belief of the Americans itself that this is really fabulous.
Well, and I think what happened, you're right, that there was an odd sort of tension, an almost poetic tension, between the savagery of the year, such a violent year, 1968, the Tet Offensive in Vietnam, assassinations in the U.S., the Soviet invasion of Czechoslovakia. Between that bloody year and the lyricism of what these guys were doing, going to the moon, going to another world, becoming creatures of that world, and orbiting it on Christmas Eve, 1968, of all nights, of all moments. The idea that this all came together, they, as I've said in some of the talks I've given, the wars that were fought that year were fought anyway. They could never be unfought. The lives that were lost could never come back. But Apollo 8 could and did redeem that year, and it also redeemed the species as a whole, because if we were capable of doing something that bold, that grand, that visionary, we couldn't only be the savages that we appeared to be in our worst moments.
Yeah. And while the entire human race did sort of connect to it, for according to your book, and I didn't know this, it was not common knowledge that we were going to do it. The 3 astronauts kind of had a secretive agreement that they were going to be on this dangerous mission, right?
Well, that's right. It was the summer of 1968. As you mentioned earlier, there had been the tragedy of the Apollo 1 deaths. 3 astronauts had died on the launch pad just the year before, and the space program had basically come to a grounding halt. President Kennedy's target date of having astronauts on the moon before the end of the decade was still out there, but there was no way we were going to meet it. And then in the summer of 1968, with just 16 months to go till the end of that deadline, NASA decided we're going to send 3 guys out to the moon in 16 weeks. Wow. We're going to get them there by Christmas time this year. Gosh. We are going to fix our problems in the spacecraft. We're going to fix our problems in the rocket. We're going to kickstart our lunar program, and we're going to get these 3 guys into this spacecraft and get them out there. But yes, everyone was told quietly, don't say anything until at least November when we're sure we're going to go. And I remember as a boy, this was a whole lot of years before I worked for Time Magazine, I remember I first learned of the mission in a Time Magazine cover story when I came home from 8th grade. I was so excited, I almost wept.
I love this topic. I know that you're going to have you're getting rave reviews already. The book is called Apollo 8, Jeffrey Kluger, Kluger. Go to Amazon. I know it's there. Do you have a website you can direct us to before we say goodbye?
Yeah, it's jeffreykluger.com, and it's got all of the links to all different ways to buy the book.
Very good. Thank you so much, Jeffrey. This is WOCA Ocala.
This is a Fox News Alert. I'm Lillian Wu. Paris police say a security operation is underway near Notre Dame Cathedral. They're urging people to stay away from the area. Fox learning the area in front of the cathedral's been sealed off after a man with a hammer attacked a police officer who then shot him twice. An NSA contractor, reality winner, arrested for leaking information on Russian